Foods classes, welcome to cooking chocolate chips. This is our first recipe of the quarter, so we're going to take our time and make sure that we really follow the steps for accurately measuring liquid and dry ingredients. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to add in our sugars and our butter. In this recipe, it asks for 1/2 cup of butter, which is a full stick, but it wants it to be melted. Melt this butter unwrapped for about 40 seconds, which I already did for you guys. And you should have a pretty liquidy solution here of butter. You'll pour that into your large mixing bowl. This will head right into your sink so it can start soaking. And then you're gonna grab your sugars. So in our recipe, we need 1/2 cup of white granulated sugar. So we dip and scoop our sugar. If you need to level off with your leveler, go ahead and do that. So there's my sugar. And then my recipe asks for 1/4 cup of brown sugar packed. So instead of using our hands, because more than one person will be grabbing the brown sugar, you're going to go ahead and pack it in with a spoon. And I usually use the back side of the spoon to really press it in till it's level. And then if you need to scrape any off so that it's nice and even, you can. But remember, it's packed in so that when it comes out, it looks like a little sandcastle. Drop it in. I don't know if you guys can see it. There it is, my little sandcastle of brown sugar. I'm going to cream my butter and sugars together using a wooden spoon. So I basically just want the sugar to absorb the majority of the liquid from the butter, and it should make, it almost looks like applesauce. It's like a light tannish yellow. And it should look a little bit like this once it's all creamed together. After you get your sugars and your butter together, then you can move on to your vanilla and your egg. You'll take 1 large egg in a custard cup, just in case you get shells. You'll go ahead and crack that into your custard cup. Looks like I did okay, no shells. Dump that in. And then you will add your vanilla, and for our vanilla, I'm reading my recipe, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Vanilla extract, 2 teaspoons. Grab your 1 teaspoon measuring spoon. And we pour in 1, we pour in 2. We're done with this, and we're done with this. So guess where they can go? Into the sink. We're gonna go ahead and mix those together. Make sure you really separate the egg yolk and the egg white. It's going to look pretty runny because we haven't added any of our dry ingredients to the mixture yet, and that's okay. That's what it's supposed to look like. You're really just focusing on getting the egg integrated into your solution. So no egg white, no egg yolk, really kind of the same color. Almost looks like applesauce. And now we are ready to add in our dry ingredients to make this look more like cookie batter. So taking a peek at my recipe, I'm adding in 1 3/4 cup of flour. We don't have a 3/4 cup measuring cup. So instead, I'll take my 1/2 and my 1/4 cup, which I used for my sugar, and I'll add those together, which will be 3/4 of a cup, plus my 1 cup. This much flour is what we're adding in. So again, when I'm doing my flour, I'm going to scoop it in until it's heaping, and then I'll level it off with my leveler. And when I put it in there, I want to give it a little tap, tap, tap to let it settle. Level it off. There's 1 full cup, and then I will do the same thing with the 1/2 cup. And the same thing with the 1/4 cup. So I get 1 3/4 cup of flour. Heap it into the cup, level it off, dump it in, and then same thing with my 1/4 cup. And remember, you guys, the reason that we add it in instead of scooping it out is because we don't want to pack the flour. Flour should be light and airy, and if we scoop our measuring cup in there, we compact it, and that makes the measurement off. Okay, now I have my flour. Next up, I need my baking soda. Looking at my recipe, I need 1/2 teaspoon. Easiest thing to do with baking soda, because it has this lid with a straight edge, is I go ahead and I dip it in, drag it along that straight edge, and it levels it off for me. Put in my 1/2 teaspoon, and same thing with my salt. I'm gonna dip it in. I can either tap on the side or I can use my leveler again to level it off. And I'll do my 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and then I mix all my ingredients together. This part gets a little tricky, so you might want to take turns. You want to go nice and slow. If you are moving around the room, which you shouldn't be doing, or if you are talking to somebody and not looking at the batter, that's when you start to make a mess because the flour poofs up everywhere. But you're gonna go ahead and stir that until it's really well combined. Okay, once I have stirred all my liquid and dry ingredients together, it should look like dough. If you want to scrape some of that flour from the edge, go ahead and do that so you get everything in there. And then we have our last ingredient, the ingredient that we need to make the chocolate chip cookies, and that is chocolate chips. Our recipe calls for 1 cup of chocolate chips. You don't have to do that many, but I'm going to try and follow the recipe. So I use my 1 cup measuring cup. And when I have almost the exact amount left, dump it in, and then again, give it a good stir. Last chance to incorporate all those ingredients together. And then, depending on which hour you are in, you are either going to go ahead and wrap up your dough and label it, put it in the freezer for our next class period to bake it. Otherwise, you will move on to the next part of our recipe, which is baking, cooling, and eating. Nice job, you guys.